soy su servidor, señor maestra, ya me conocen, y voy a ser su maestro de ceremonia, señor muy especial, el señor compañero y gran compañero Roberto Tijerina, nuestro hermano. Tijerina es un autor de libros, historiador, cantante, activista y locutor de radio, cantante. Sin más preámbulos, les voy a introducir al señor Roberto Tijerina.
Órale. Buenos días. Órale. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a graduate of the University of California, Riverside. Graduated with a BA in Chicano Studies. What is Chicano Studies? Chicano Studies is the study of Mexican Americans in the United States from 1848 to the present. So that's a lot. Ay, necesito, ayúdame. Órale. So I'm going to tell you a history, a story with guitar and speech. That's what you're going to hear today. And you're going to hear about the Azteca, the Maya, and the Inca, indigenous people of this land, which we are. We are the descendants of these people. We have been here for 100,000 years, and we have walked from Alaska to the tip of Chile, from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic coast, around and around. Where she goes, where she stops, nobody knows. Órale pues, just like a merry-go-round. Y luego, ¿dónde comenzamos? It's such a long history, 500 years. How do you explain to somebody? Pues, en una hora. No se puede, no se puede. You have to really study. And you have to learn about yourself, about your culture, about your tradition, about your language. ¿Verdad? Porque hablamos en inglés, but we knew Spanish. And before that, we knew an indigenous language, which was Nahuatl. Everybody say Nahuatl? Órale. And then, of course, we have to understand the history of our people and why we are here today, to learn, to educate our minds, to become more, to prosper, ¿verdad? Órale. So aquí te va. I hope you enjoy. Los Aztecas, the Maya, the Inca, they walked this land for 100,000 years. Y luego vino la tragedia, a tragedy beyond belief. You see it today at television, war. And there was a war, and these people were called los conquistadores. And the conquistadores came from Spain, and they had never crossed the ocean. And so then, in 1492, Christopher Columbus crossed the ocean blue. You all heard it in your history books, ¿verdad? Pero what you didn't hear is que he was drunk. Oh yes, he was drunk, yes. Why? Because all their water was poisoned already. And the only way to drink something was to heat it. They had to heat it. They had to heat it up in order to kill all the microorganisms. And so then the only thing they had to drink was beer. Believe it or not. The Chinese were a little smarter because they drank tea and they heated up their tea. And so then Christopher Columbus, he was drunk. He was trying to get to India, where the Hindu people are at, ¿verdad? The Hindu religion. And they didn't know this continent was here, so they hit this continent and they called us indios. No somos indios. Somos hijos del sol, los naturales, the aboriginal, the Native Americans. That's who we are. And so then los Aztecas. Los Aztecas, you hear a lot of stories about the Aztecas, that they tore out hearts and they ate them. Puro guato, son mentiras. Te están echando mentiras. Now we can get into a whole history lesson on that one, but we're not going to do that right now. What I can tell you is what Hernán Cortés, Captain General General Captain Hernán Cortés told the Native Americans, los Aztecas, what did he tell them? He told them in español, tenemos una enfermedad. We have a sickness. Y esa enfermedad nomás se puede curar con el oro. And we can only cure that sickness with gold. So they wanted the gold. They wanted the land. And they made us into slaves. And so you hear all this bad stuff about the Aztecs, that they were savages, that they were pagans, they didn't believe in God, that they were heathens, that they were cannibals, they ate people. Puro vato, raza, no se creen, son mentiras. That's what they tell you. The conqueror, when he conquers a people, he's going to tell you his story. They're not going to tell you your story. And that's why you're here today, to hear your story. Órale. So who were los Aztecas? Los Aztecas built a great empire, a great civilization, a kingdom. And this kingdom was called Tenochtitlan. Everybody say Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan. And this was their great, big, giant city. Además, los conquistadores se asustaron. They said, oh my God, there is no city in all of Europe like this. And it was built on a lake. Now, it's very difficult to build on a lake. But they made an island. Off of this island, they made temples, stones that weighed 2 tons. And they built temples, and they built this great giant city. And all of the city was mathematical. Yes, they had mathematics. And the whole city was on a geometric grid, which means that it was all aligned to the stars. Wherever the stars were, that's how the city was built. Okay? So they were mathematicians. They were philosophers, astronomers, astrologers, physicians, doctors. Yes, they were putting jade in your cavities, in your teeth. When you get cavities because you eat too much sugar, ¿verdad? And they were operating on your eyes, believe it or not. Now, if you could see afterwards, I don't know, this is otra cosa. But they were operating, yes they were. And they created a lot of foods that were not in Europe. Okay, these are the foods, okay? They were not in Europe. Europe is another continent, it's across the sea. It takes 3 months on a boat to get across the sea. 3 months on a boat to get to Europe. So it took them 3 months to get here. And so then in an airplane, it's only like 7 hours, I think, on an airplane. And so then when they came, they saw los Aztecas and they had this food, and it's called elote. Corn. Amen. Corn. Now corn, you can make 3,500 different products from corn. Okay? And elote is a GMO. What is a GMO? Genetically modified organism. That means that it takes las manitas de los hombres, of man, to make elote. Why? Because if you leave it alone, it would die. So they got a little corn, and they got this weed, and they wrapped it up. And it took years, 10,000 years, and it became the corn on the cob. It grew, and it became a corn on the cob. And that's your elote. And we have elote all the time. Now, elote fed all of Europe. Okay? They didn't have elote over there in Europe. And elote, what do you get out of elote? Pues, chili picante corn nuts, vato. Right? You like chili picante corn nuts? Simon, que yes? How about Doritos? Eh? Right? Because it comes from corn. What about tortillas? Tortillas comes from maíz, from corn. And so tortillas, we've been eating tortillas for 10,000 years. Can you believe that? For 10,000 years, we've been eating tortillas. Alright? And what else do you get from corn? You get popcorn. Yes, the Aztecas were eating popcorn. 500 years ago, they were eating popcorn. Believe it or not, raza. ¿Y qué más? What else did they have? Well, they had the drink of the gods, ¿verdad? And what was that? Chocolate, ¿verdad? And on chocolate, this chocolate, this was a flavor, and they had vanilla, all right? And they had tapioca. Now, tapioca is a poison, so if you drink it raw, it can kill you. So how did they know? Well, one indio ate it, and he died. Ah, se murió, pobrecito. So what did they do? They thinned it out. They diluted it. And when they thinned it out, then you can eat tapioca, all right? So now, here's the question. Why don't they say thanks to the Aztecs or the Maya or the Inca on any of the packages? In Valentine's Day, do you see all the boxes of chocolate? Does it say thanks to the Aztecas, the Maya, the Inca? No. Chocolate goes around the world on Valentine's Day, but we don't get any thanks. What about corn? Do we get thanks for corn? No thanks. No thanks to the Aztecs, the Maya, the Inca. On the packages of corn nuts, do you say thanks to the Aztec, the Maya, and the Inca? No, we don't get no thanks. We are invisible as a people. And so you have to remind people what our accomplishments are, what we have accomplished in this world, in this continent. All right? So then, what else do we have? We had the tomate. The tomate is red. They didn't have tomates in Europe. And the tomate, they wouldn't eat it. Los conquistadores wouldn't eat tomate. Why? Because it's red. It's poison. No, Sonso. Tomate is good for you. And so then the tomate, they took it to Italy, and they made pizza. That's how you get pizza, with tomate. Right? But does any of the pizza boxes say, thanks to the Azteca, the Maya, and the Inca for these tomatoes? Oh. So then, what else? Avocate. Avocate comes from the Azteca, the Maya, and the Inca. Everybody eats avocate. And avocate is really good for you. We put it in all our tacos, right? And the tortilla. The tortilla is so special. The tortilla is so special. Have you guys ever thought of this? The tortilla is so special that you can make tacos, tostadas, burritos, flautas, sopas. You can make nachos, Doritos. That's all comes from the tortilla. Enchiladas. That's how important and crucial the tortilla is to our people. And so then, ¿qué más? What else did the Aztecas do? Well, believe it or not, they had the first ball game. They had a ball. Believe it or not, they had a ball, and the ball would bounce up and down. They made it out of latex, right? Or rubber. And the ball would bounce up, and the Español, he saw the ball. He saw the ball, he said, ¡Ay, mi Dios, qué es eso! He got scared. Why was he scared? Because he thought, tiene el diablo está adentro de la pelota. No, Sonso, no, menso. So he took out his big old espada, his big sword, and he cut the ball to death. Ay, tiene el diablo. No, Sonso. You see, he was uneducated. He didn't know. And so then the Aztecas, they played this ball game, the Mayas. And they made the helmets, they made the elbow pads, they made the knee pads. You see? The Aztecas had this. All of this. But in any of the football games, does it say, thanks to the Maya, the Azteca, the Inca? No. It doesn't say, thank you for all the gear that you guys invented. It doesn't say that. And so then, ¿qué más? What else did the Azteca do? Bueno, the Azteca, a lot of the states are named after indigenous names. California, do you know where California comes from? It's Cali, C-A-L-L-I. It is a Nahuatl word. Cali means foundation, the foundation next to the water. That's what it means, okay? She was also a princess, Cali. The Spanish added the flower, California. Okay, so that's where you get it from. Now what else? Arizona. Arizona is a Nahuatl word. It means Arizonac. What does that mean? It means where the silver is. Because they had a lot of mines in Arizona. New Mexico. New Mexico. Mexico. Where do we get this word Mexico from? We get it from the Aztecas. The Aztecas, there was 7 tribes of Aztecs. The last one that went to Mexico, see, we're from here. We're from California. We're from Utah. We're from Texas. We're from here. We never crossed the borders. The borders crossed us. Okay? Everybody say, the borders crossed us. The borders crossed us. All right, I thought. All right, now. So then we are from here. We walked. The Aztecas left here. They walked for 200 years. Here, staying there, staying over here, staying over there. And they reached Mexico, underneath Mexico City. Tenochtitlan is underneath Mexico City. It's torn down. The Spanish tore it down when they conquered it. And so then, we are from here. We are like the birds that leave one season and they come back the next, right? They go over the border. Nobody tells, hey, you birds, you airbats, don't come over here, right? Where are your immigration papers? They don't tell the birds, right? They don't tell the turtles, hey, stop, you turtle, you're an immigrant. That's impossible. So why do they do it to us? So then you see the story of los Aztecas. And so then los Aztecas, what else? So Mexico, Mexica. So Mexico means Mexica. That's what Mexico means. Everybody say Mexica. Mexica. There you go. And so then it became Mexico. And New Mexico is named after the Mexica. New Mexica. You see? Now, Texas is a tribe. It is a tribe of indigenous people. Texas. Everybody say Texas. It's not Texas. It's Texas. You see? North Dakota. Dakota is an indigenous word. It means friend. Everybody say Dakota. Andale, all right. Minnesota means where the water reflects the sky. It is an indigenous word. Tennessee. The word Tennessee means the gathering of the elders. And so there's many, many states that are named after indigenous people. And who are the indigenous people? The Azteca, the Maya, the Inca, the Apache, the Comanche, so many indigenous people all around the world. Okay? And so then, what else did the Aztecas do? The Aztecas defended their homeland. They fought hard, and they were conquered. And then they went under Spanish rule for 300 years. All right? So we're going to move on now to the Maya. Now the Maya were an ancient people, and they are before los Aztecas. And the Maya created the mathematical zero. Okay? You can't have math without the zero. Okay? In Europe, they thought of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 5, 6. But they didn't think of zero. The only people who thought of zero was the Maya. See? It's there and it's not. Oh my God. What do you mean it's there and it's not? Okay? It's a mathematical concept. Now, without the zero, you can't have, what can't you have? You can't have iPads. You can't have computers. You can't have iPhones. You can't send somebody to the moon. You can't do anything without the zero. So on the computer boxes, does it say, thanks to the Maya? No. So why? Why is that? Why don't they give us any thanks? Why are we invisible? And so you have to ask these questions. And so they're going to tell you a little bit of truth, but you're not going to get all the truth. You have to investigate. That's what Chicano Studies does. It teaches you your history, who you are, where you come from. And so the Mayan created, of course, temples. And the temples aligned to the stars. And what does that mean? It means that when the sun rose on the equinox, or the solstice, which means the shortest day of the year or the longest day of the year, the sun would hit the mountaintop. The mountain would send a shadow down to the steps of the temple, and you would see the shape of a dragon, a serpent, a snake appear from the shadow. And throughout that day, only one day out of the year, the dragon crawled up the steps or came down the steps, the shadow, because the sun is moving. Okay? So this is their intelligence. They were so intelligent that they did this. And nowhere around the world did they do this except the Mayans. And so, ¿qué más? And there's so much more. They created engineering techniques that are still used to this day called the Mayan buttress system. ¿Qué más? The Inca. The Inca created la papa. The potato. Yes, the potato is Inca. It comes from the Incas. And we've been eating potato for 8,000 years. We've been eating potato. There is over 3,000 different types of potatoes. Did you know that? What is the Mexican potato? La jicama is a potato, believe it or not. But why do they call them French fries? Why don't they call them Inca fries? Eh? You see, we don't get no credit. And so then, what else did they make? Well, they made beef jerky. Yes. The Inca made beef jerky. Why? Because we didn't have the horse here. The horse comes from Europe. The horse died out 10,000 years ago. It died here in this continent. So the horse comes from the other continent. Okay? And so then they had to walk miles and miles and miles, but they needed food. They needed to walk with food. So they dried the meat. It's called dehydration. To dehydrate the meat. And they made beef jerky. And what else did they do? They did barbecues. Barbacoa. Right? We all know barbacoa. Right? And they made pozos, holes in the ground, as ovens to heat up meat. This is all stuff done on this side of the continent, the indigenous people. And what else did they do? Did you know that the Inca had rubber shoes and rubber coats for the rain? Yes. They went to the trees and they poked a hole in the tree and they took out what they call the milk of the forest. It's white. What is it called? It's called latex. And out of latex, they make rubber. And out of rubber, they make tires. But on any tires, does it say, thanks to the Olmecs or the Inca? No, we get no thanks. We are invisible. And so then, this is what the Inca could do. They would put rubber or latex on their shoes and their coats because it always rained. For 6 months, it rained in the Amazon. So this is los Aztecas, the Maya, and the Incas. And I can tell you so much more about these people, but we need to talk about other things también. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into terminology. Okay, this is important now. Everybody talks about racism. And racism is very important because we have to understand racism. What is racism? Okay, so I'm going to give you an equation, a mathematical equation. Okay, that mathematical equation is this. Power plus prejudice means racism, equals to racism. Okay, once again, power plus prejudice equals racism. Okay, what does that mean? I have to have power. You see, prejudice means I don't like you. I don't like you because you're too tall, because you have black hair, because of the color of your skin, because you're wearing those jeans and I don't like jeans. Okay, that's prejudice. Okay? But I can't change your life. I can't do nothing to you. I have to have power. And okay, so now I have power. I am the owner of Walmart. All the Walmarts around the world, I own all of them. And today I decided to fire everybody who weighs over 99 pounds. Okay? That's power. Do you get it? That's what we call discrimination. Okay? So you have to have power in order to be racist. Okay? That's the terminology. All right, now, I'm going to tell you about terms. We are Chicano. Everybody say Chicano.
Chicano.
All right. Now, Chicano is a non-gender term. Okay? You can say Chicana if you're a girl, or you can say, if you're a boy, Chicano. But it is like saying American. It's the same thing. Or saying black, or saying white. It's the same thing. Chicano means all the people. All right? Now, here are the terms that they tell you. That you are Hispanic. But wait a minute, where does this word come from? Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. You're panic. Everybody's panic. No, I'm not. What does that mean? It means everybody who is Spanish, speaks Spanish, is a Hispanic. That is wrong. We are not from Spain. We didn't come from Spain. Okay? Some of our ancestors maybe came from Spain. That's why some of us have green eyes. Some of us have blue eyes. Some of us have blonde hair. But we are indigenous. We are Native American. Why? Because in order to be Spanish, you have to go every generation. Every generation, that means your dad and your mom, every generation they have to go to Spain, get married, and bring back a wife or a husband. That did not happen. Okay? The indigenous people married who? Who did they marry? More Indian people. And who did they marry? More Indian people. And who did they marry? More Indian people. So we're indigenous. We're not Spanish. We speak Spanish because of the conquistadores. Alright? Pero no somos español, somos mexicanos. Somos chicanos if you're born in the United States. And so then, ¿qué más? So then we have Latino. What the hell is Latino? Did you ever look it up? No, right? No, nobody looked it up. Well, it means it's an ancient little region in Italy. Italy is across the ocean. Have you ever been to Italy? Then what? Oh, well, thank you for going. But Italy is across the ocean. And so then we're not Latinos. We can't be Latinos. So why do they call it Latinos? Because the Spanish came here and they named the whole territory Latin America. But we're not Latinos. We're not from Europe. We're not Spanish. We're not from Spain. We're not Hispanic. We're not Latinos. What's the last one? Mexican American. And Mexican American means you're Mexican, you're born in the United States, you're an American, but you're not quite an American yet. You're going to be an American one day. When you dye your hair blonde and put on blue contacts. That's when you're going to be an American. Everybody close your eyes for 1 minute. Everybody close your eyes, okay? Now, when I say American, what's the first thing that you think of?
White.
Why? Why?
Because most white people come.
Okay, so then, see, we have in our head that we have to be white, that we can't be brown, that we're not beautiful if we're not brown. I'm brown and I'm proud. You see? So then I look in the mirror every day. I look in the mirror and I say, damn, I'm cute. See? That's the way you need to think about yourself, okay? Because you're never going to be happy. If you have in your head that you have to be white, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be content. You're going to go to the doctor and you say, I want bigger lips like Elvis Presley, or I want a bigger nose, or I want my ears to be taped back, or I want blonde hair, or I want... You're never going to be happy, and you're always going to be at the doctor's getting surgery. Okay? You don't want to do that. You want to be happy with who you are, and what you are, and where you come from.
Que tengo triste el corazón y necesito amar. Enséñame a cantar, enséñame a cantar. Que tengo triste el corazón y necesito amar. Al salir de mi casa, cuando iba a pasear, pensando en mis problemas, con ganas había una niña sentada en un portal, tocando con un bajo, cantando sin fallar. Enséñame a cantar, enséñame a cantar, que tengo triste el corazón y necesito amar. ¡Ajúa!
Right, okay, right here, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. See? But, yeah. Yeah, we found that one.
But can you